Hello and welcome to my final year project, which is simulating a realistic global economy for video games. In this video I'll be showing you my final year project, and I'll also be talking as we go along to explain what you're seeing. So the first thing I want to start off with is the different nations. So as you can see, there are different islands. So we have one here, one here, one here, and one here. Each of these nations is comprised of different hexagons, and each one of these hexagons has its own resource. This object here is a national bank, which gives businesses loans, which they have a certain amount of time to pay back. The businesses also have to pay back a certain amount of interest, as well as the original amount that they borrowed. The national bank has a reserve rate, which is a certain amount of money that they cannot go beyond without being unable to let businesses withdraw the money that they originally deposited. The National Bank also controls the level of inflation within a country by changing the interest rates on the loans that they give. This is a national government. One of the things the national government does is calculate the national GDP, which is the gross domestic product. It calculates the GDP from consumer spending, which is how much money the consumers are spending on tertiary related businesses. Then there's business spending, which is how much money businesses are spending on buying goods related to increasing their own levels of production. Then there are exports and imports, and then finally there is government spending, which is how much money the government spends on things like healthcare, for example. Another responsibility of the national government is to set the level of taxes that each business has to pay at the end of the financial year. This is dynamically changing depending upon the situation of the economy. There are different economic principles in the simulation. One of them is inflation, which is calculated by looking at the producer price index, which looks at the different producers and the price that they're charging for their goods and compares them each month to see whether or not the price has increased or decreased. Another economic principle is tariffs, which is when a business within one nation wants to buy a good from abroad from a business in another nation. When they want to do that, they have to pay a particular tariff charge, which is set by the nation's government that they are located in. Economies of scale is also represented in the simulation, as when businesses are looking for potential suppliers, they also take into account the amount of stock they can buy from that supplier, as when they buy stock in bulk, they save significant amounts of money due to the fact that when products are bought in bulk, the cost of buying them on an individual scale decreases, and therefore the business saves significant amounts of money. The AI takes this into account and will actively look for this when it decides on a supplier for its particular good. These objects here are businesses. The businesses trade with each other with their own goods that they either manufacture or get directly from the hexagon they're standing on. This is determined by the type of business they are. So we have primary businesses, which simply sell the good that is found on the hexagon they are located on. They are secondary businesses, which take the goods from primary businesses and manufacture them into other goods. And then there are tertiary businesses, which take those manufactured goods and sell them directly to the consumers. Businesses have the option of expanding once they've achieved a certain level of profit. And when they do this, they create another business which follows a set of rules, such as being close to its original business, being close to a supplier, and being close to a business in which can afford to buy its goods. When a business expands, it creates a new business in the same color of its original business. So as we can see here, the purple businesses are quite common, which would mean that they have expanded quite a lot and they all belong to the same corporation. Whereas if we look at another island, we can look at these particular ones here, which there are only 3 of. What was that for? 4 of there, which shows that they are not as profitable as the corporation over here, which has expanded much more and had a lot more success than other potential corporations. Businesses have suppliers as well as businesses that they supply. These are dynamically changing as well, depending on whether or not businesses go out of business, or whether they no longer have any stock, or whether or not there are more advantageous businesses that the business can either supply or be supplied from.